What does Ozempic actually do to your body? What can go wrong when you take Ozempic? And how can you get some of the same benefits you get from Ozempic naturally without taking pills or injections? Before we can talk about alternatives to Ozempic, we need to know more about a substance that your body produces naturally called GLP-1. Don't worry, I'm going to make this really simple and easy to understand. So GLP-1 is a hormone that's produced by cells in the lining of your gut. A hormone is like a messenger that travels around your body, handing out instructions and telling different parts of your body what to do and when to do it. Whenever you eat or drink, your gut releases GLP-1. GLP-1 does several things related to appetite, but basically it slows down how quickly food leaves your stomach. Because if your stomach feels full, you won't really feel like eating more food. It also tells your brain that you've had enough to eat, and then your brain tells you to stop eating. And most people don't realize how important that brain signal is when it comes to overeating. When it comes to lowering blood sugar, GLP-1 tells your pancreas to release insulin, which helps to bring down your blood sugar after you eat. It stops the release of another hormone called glucagon. Glucagon is like the opposite of insulin. While insulin is trying to lower your blood sugar, glucagon is trying to raise it. This natural GLP-1 that your gut produces only survives for a few minutes before it's completely broken down. So your body needs to keep producing it. And this is where drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Trulicity, and all the others, this is where they step in. These medicines contain a long-acting, man-made version of the GLP-1 that your gut produces naturally. So from now on, I'm just going to say Ozempic, and you'll understand that I'm talking about the whole group of drugs that includes Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and all of them, so that I don't have to keep repeating all these names over and over again. So let's look at some of the reasons why people may want to take Ozempic and similar medicines. First of all, these medicines make you feel fuller and more satisfied, so you can eat smaller meals or nothing at all. They go directly to your brain and they shut down your appetite and all the cravings you have for snacks and comfort food. They can make you lose a lot of weight and they lower your blood sugar. Some of the disadvantages of taking Ozempic include the fact that 40% of the weight you lose isn't actually fat. Some of it is muscle and some is bone. And this becomes very hard to replace if you're 40 years old and above, because it can lead to general weakness and a higher risk of falls and broken bones. These drugs affect your mental health. Taking them can double your chances of developing anxiety and triple your chances of becoming depressed. You may also have a lot of nausea and you may feel full and bloated all the time. And you may actually become malnourished because you're not eating enough food. If you don't eat, how will you get enough protein, enough fats, minerals, and vitamins to keep you healthy? And then taking these drugs isn't a permanent fix. Once you stop taking them, all the weight comes back, and it doesn't come back as muscle or bone. It comes back as fat. And then the cravings for sugar and other things gradually come back. About 70% of people who start taking these medicines stop within 2 years for lots of different reasons. And these drugs are expensive. So now let's look at some strategies you can use to naturally boost your own GLP-1 that your body produces without taking expensive medicines and exposing yourself to dangerous side effects. So I'm not going to pretend that any single one of these strategies or suggestions is going to give you that really dramatic effect that you get with Ozempic and all the others. But this is a more natural way to get some of the same benefits. These things you can do virtually forever, and you're working with your body and actually building it up and making it healthier. It's sustainable and you're not worrying about dangerous side effects. So it's virtually impossible to talk about natural ways to get some of these Ozempic benefits without talking about food. Excuse me. We'll talk about what to eat, then we'll look at how to eat, because these are two very different things. So the first thing you can do is to eat a low carbohydrate diet. So that means cutting back on sugar and high starch foods like bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, and all that. These are foods that turn into sugar in your blood. A low carbohydrate meal can produce 3 to 4 times more GLP release from your gut compared to a low fat meal. And this is why a lot of people feel more satisfied for longer after eating food that's low in carbohydrates. A really effective way to increase your body's natural GLP-1 is to eat more fiber, not just any kind of fiber. You want soluble fiber or fermentable fiber. When you eat this type of fiber, it passes into your gut and it sends signals to the cells in the gut to release GLP-1. Then as the fiber moves along, because your body can't break it down, it ends up in your colon, near the end of your gut. And here it's broken down by bacteria in your gut into fatty acids. And then these fatty acids go back to your small intestine and tell the cells to release more GLP-1. So this is called the second meal effect. And it usually occurs 4 to 8 hours after eating the fiber. It helps to reduce cravings and snacking between meals and also reduces your appetite. So you eat less when it's time for your next meal. You can get this soluble, fermentable fiber from foods like legumes, like beans, oats, and barley. You can get them from carrots, from citrus fruits, from nuts, from flax seeds, and from seaweed. Another type of food you should eat is fermented food like yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, etc. So these foods stimulate your gut to produce GLP-1 and other hormones that talk to your brain, and they basically tell your brain that you've eaten and that you're satisfied. So once again, this stops all the cravings and thinking about foods and snacks. Another food you can eat is eggs. Eggs can help to boost your GLP-1, especially the white of the egg. And a study showed that men who ate 3 eggs for breakfast ate less food and felt less hungry for the rest of the day. Eggs contain protein, but they also contain fats, which help to regulate your appetite and reduce hunger. Certain types of fat can increase your GLP-1 levels, particularly the kind of fat that you find in olive oil and avocado oil. So these can help to reduce your appetite. Omega-3 fatty acids can also help to boost your GLP-1 levels, and you can get those from eating fatty fish like mackerel, sardines, and salmon. But practically speaking, when you're eating good fats and lots of protein, you won't find yourself feeling hungry like 2 hours after your meal. And it will also reduce your food cravings to almost nothing. So you'd basically be eating the fat that comes with your food, like fatty cuts of meat, and then healthy fats like coconut oil, red palm oil, lard, and butter. Speaking of protein, whenever people talk about collagen, which is a type of protein, they're usually thinking about healthy skin and joints and nails and hair. But collagen also helps to increase your natural GLP-1 levels. You get collagen naturally from animal sources like beans, beans, like bones, chicken skin, and fish. You can also take it as a supplement. So there's a popular drink in South America called yerba mate. It's a kind of herbal drink made by, excuse me, steeping dried leaves of the yerba mate plant in hot water, just like black or green tea. And it has caffeine, which can make you feel more alert and more focused, and it has lots of antioxidants. But one extra benefit of yerba mate is that it can help to reduce your appetite and promote weight loss. The bitter compounds in yerba mate actually reduce sweet cravings and help you to feel full. If you're sensitive to caffeine, though, you might want to avoid yerba mate in the tea form. You can get it in the form of the extract, and studies use 1 gram of extract taken 3 times a day. So our bodies have an inbuilt clock, and certain things happen at certain times of the day. Most of the GLP-1 in your body is released during the day and in the early evening. So to make the most of this pattern, avoid eating late at night. If you eat late, you'll tend to eat more because your brain isn't getting those signals from GLP-1 telling it that you've had enough food. The order in which you eat your food is really important when it comes to GLP-1. If you're eating a mixed meal, eat your vegetables, protein, and fat first, and then eat your starchy foods like potatoes, rice, and pasta. Eat those last. You should also eat your food slowly, and this will give you the maximum release of GLP-1. And speaking of rhythms, one of the most obvious that you see and experience every single day, hopefully, is sleep. Have you noticed that when you don't sleep well, you make really, really bad food choices the next day? One of the best natural ways to increase your GLP-1 levels and also to make what you produce as effective as possible is to pay attention to your sleep. Whenever you mess up your body's natural rhythms, bad things are sure to follow. For example, people who work a lot of night shifts tend to have higher blood sugar, higher blood pressure, more body fat, and so are more likely to develop diabetes and heart disease. So what poor sleep does is that it reduces the amount of GLP-1 that your body produces. So you'll feel more hungry the next day. When you eat, you won't feel full, you won't feel satisfied, and you'll find yourself snacking more on high sugar foods and snacks. And as the day goes on, your self-control will slide more and more, and the chances are that by the end of the day, your blood sugar will be high. High blood sugar makes your heart beat harder and faster. It raises your body temperature, which you should be trying to lower if you want to sleep. And all this puts you on edge so that by the time you're ready to go to bed, you're not relaxed, which sets you up for yet another night of bad sleep. And the cycle continues. So let's talk about some supplements that you can take that can give you some of the same effects as Ozempic. The first one isn't really a supplement, it's actually a sugar called allulose. Allulose is a natural sugar, but unlike regular table sugar, it doesn't raise your blood glucose and it doesn't spike your insulin levels. Allulose produces a noticeable and fast increase in GLP-1 levels in the body. So that means that it will help to suppress your appetite and also reduce the amount of glucagon that your body releases. And if you remember, glucagon raises your blood sugar. The next supplement that I'm going to talk about is berberine. And berberine seems to be great for a lot of different health conditions, but in this case, it helps the cells in your intestines to produce short-chain fatty acids that we mentioned before. These then go on to stimulate the production of GLP-1. Berberine can also help to fix the cells in the gut which have become damaged by insulin resistance and by diabetes so that they're healthier and can produce more GLP-1. Another supplement is curcumin. Curcumin is the active ingredient in turmeric that gives it that bright yellow color. And curcumin can increase the release of GLP-1 and possibly reduce weight and blood sugar in people with type 2 diabetes. One small study used 1,500 milligrams a day. Eating lots of turmeric may not give you the same results because you'd have to eat a lot of turmeric to get that amount of curcumin.